For most organisations, carbon is equivalent to energy. That means power that you buy in from a supplier, gas that you burn on site for heating or for running a furnace, for example. Most organisations will report carbon for the purposes of compliance. If you're in the UK, for example, many organisations are caught by the carbon reduction commitment and have to do so. For others, it's often a more voluntary approach, which is that they will have made a statement or a commitment, for example, to reduce emissions, and they're reporting carbon in order to confirm those reductions that they're aiming to achieve. Really, for most organisations, because energy forms the biggest part of their carbon emissions, it's calculating the energy consumed. What needs to be understood, though, is going beyond that. It's the energy consumed not just by your plant or your site or your employees in their going about their business. It's also the embedded emissions in products and raw materials that you may buy in. That's also part of your carbon footprint. In terms of whether it's a good or a bad thing, I think you have to take account of the fact that for most organisations, particularly the larger global businesses, they have made commitments to improve their environmental performance. And saying things like that on your website is one thing, but actually showing what you're doing in detail and in terms of actual carbon reduction commitments is a different thing entirely. So the CDP, the Carbon Disclosure Project, is a forum for reporting which allows organisations to show what it is they're doing and also to be benchmarked. What companies will need to do if they choose to report under the CDP is to measure the CO2 emissions associated with the energy that they use, the transport fuels that they use in going about their business. What that then filters through to is a league table of performance. They will also, for example, set within the responses their own objectives and statements of improvements. Well, it's fair to say that compliance is a major issue for most organisations and the reason that they do report. But otherwise, if you're an organisation which is making environmental statements about performance, you need to be able to back that up. It's no good anymore in the market just to be able to say that we are committed to the environment. You have to be able to demonstrate what you're doing to improve your position, and that's one of the ways that things like the CDP can help to do that, to measure and set benchmarks that you're competing against of your own. Well, it's commonly accepted that if you can't measure, you can't manage. And for most organisations, reporting carbon shouldn't really just be seen as a chore or a compliance issue. What we find in helping organisations to manage their CO2 emissions is they're also managing their energy and by implication their costs. So we, for example, are working with businesses who are setting CO2 emissions targets into the KPIs of their staff and making it a cultural issue for the organisation. And that has benefits both in terms of cost and the bottom line, but also in terms of reputation and brand, and being able to talk about that externally to stakeholders.